afternoon, everybody, from the PMI chapter. This is Brian Russell, your Lunch and Learn coordinator. Looks like we have 13 attending so far, and I suspect we'll probably get another 10 or 15 more. So a reminder to use the webinar chat function. Use the webinar chat function for questions to David, any feedback to David from the presentation that you might have. Use that chat function as well. David's going to be presenting today on taking our project management careers to the next level. David's presented before with us, so if you've been on prior Lunch and Learns, he won't be new to you. David Barrett is a professional speaker, a regular blogger, podcast host, author of 8 books, and project management education advisor to numerous universities in Canada. David's career includes the creation and directing of a project management conference business called Project World / Project Summit, a training company, a software development firm, a speaker bureau, and a project management portal called projecttimes.com, and a project management event series called Project Talks. Most recently, he's launched a virtual project management education platform known as projectbytes.com, and Blue Cross of Idaho, the PMI Western Idaho chapter subscribes to Project Bytes. So you all have access to Project Bytes. You can visit the PMI webpage to get a link to access that platform. So with that, I'm going to turn it over to David. And David, you can take it from here.
Ryan, thank you very much. Great. And hey, everyone, great to be here. Nice to be back. Always nice to visit the lovely part of the world, Western Idaho. I come to you from eastern central Canada, 2 hours north of Toronto, if you know your geography. Whenever I hear that sort of thing, I love to Google map. Where is he? He lives in a town called Collingwood, Ontario. Listen, I had a funny thing happen way back when someone came to me and said, hey, David, you know the project management business. You've been around for 30, 35 years, I hear. And I said, yeah. And he said, well, I'm having some trouble getting a job. It just seems that I keep applying to these project management jobs and I'm not getting anything. And I said, well, that's kind of funny because I've known you and you've been around for a while. He said, yeah, that's the thing. I've got really good experience and subject matter expertise. I'm not applying for an IT job when I came from construction and engineering, or not, vice versa, whatever. So I'm in my lane, David. So, really? It's kind of funny. I said, but that's good. Having subject matter expertise and being a little bit older, some experience is good. But I said, so tell me a little bit more. What else do you have? And I'm thinking, I get my brain around the fact that you gotta stick out in the crowd a bit, because that's not going to cut it. And he said, well, I've got great references and any reference you call just glowing remarks. I said, well, okay, that's good as well. But next, what else? Oh, well, I've got my PMP, of course. You knew that. And I said, yeah, what else? And that's kind of when he looked at me and said, what do you mean, what else? I've got subject matter expertise, good experience, great references, and I've got my PMP designation. I said, yeah. Well, let me tell you the bad news. And this is only midday Wednesday for you guys. Midday of the week. This is the hump moment, the hump day. I hate to ruin it, but the answer to my friend was, it's not enough. And today I'm here to shake you up a bit, hopefully shake you up enough to know that, listen, it is a different world than the beginning of time. And these days, just having your PMP isn't going to cut it. PMP and subject matter expertise and great referrals and good experience isn't enough anymore. You see, all of a sudden, it's pretty crowded out there. I call this presentation Taking Our Project Management Careers to the Next Level. I could also say, hey, it's pretty crowded out there. How do I compete? Maybe there you go, there's a new slide. How do I compete? I'll tell you, I've been in this business since 1995. I joined the P in 95, the PMI in 1995. My membership card is at the top of my bulletin board over here. My membership number is 43,642, which means I was the 43,642nd person to join the PMI. 64,000. Just to put that into perspective, at the time, by the way, the PMI was 30,000 people large. And I joined when the technology sector was starting to boom and starting to wake up and realize that these were projects and that project management could be our savior, because they hadn't figured it out up until then. And really, the technology budget with major corporations in America wasn't all that big at the time. All of a sudden, it was growing and growing, and these projects were more mission critical, and we were buying desktop computers all over the place, and new software and legacy software to new software, and Y2K was coming up. And all of a sudden, it didn't really quite work out. Sorry, we're late. We need more money. Just wasn't cutting it anymore. And so they realized that project management could do it. PMI at 30,000 members back then was all construction, engineering, large capital projects. But the growth from that moment on was just astronomical, and it was all IT, technology, software, hardware implementation. It was an amazing time. But guess what? If you wanted a project management job and you had technical expertise, subject matter expertise, good referrals, good references, good experience as a project manager, you could have anything you wanted. I mean, basically, you had a huge leg up because there weren't many good project managers that knew technology out there. And if you knew all that, you had all of those things, and you had your PMP designation, oh my God, they'd give you half the business just to come and work for them back then. There were 30,000 PMI members. There were, I think, 1,500 PMPs. Today, there's 900, almost 900,000 members from 30. Today, there's 1.4 million PMPs in the world in good standing. Back then, you could write your own ticket. And no one talked like, gee, I can't get a job. The phone just kept ringing. You got your PMP, you knew technology, come and work for the company. So we had a problem today, and the problem is clear as a bell. Listen, it's crowded out there. You are competing against 1.4 million PMPs, 14 million professional project managers that don't have their PMP but are still professional project managers, probably 140 million people worldwide that are kind of project managers, sometimes project managers, but not professional project managers. It is crowded out there. So we have to find a way to stand out in the crowd, to compete. If I'm going to play the role for the little while of your HR department, looking for a new project manager, call it a gig project manager, contract only, 3 years, 2 years, 1 year, technology, Western Idaho Bank, or call it a full-time job, or call it internal, new project. This is more often, new project, folks. We got a new AI implementation project coming on. Whoa, that's really cool. We got some Federal Reserve relationship project coming on over here, and we got a whole new technology and a rewrite of our software. These are great projects. They're juicy and they're right up your alley. We need to get on the short list. We need to get the phone call. We need to get from the pile of 30 people down to 3, just at least to get the interview, to talk to people, even though it's internal. Because with this crowd, we even keep missing the internal opportunity as well. So what I'm going to do today is I want to give you 5 things really, and then a little topper on that, on how to stand out in the crowd. Give you some suggestions on how you can potentially get off the big pile and get into the small pile. From the position of your hiring director of the PMO or the PMO, or the position of HR looking for a project manager, from outside or inside, or a gig project manager full-time, I don't care. Let me give you some ideas. Before I move on, this is brought to you by, I like to say that, Project Bytes is a platform of microeducation, 20-minute units of PMP content, PDUs, I should say, of inspiration, education from over 130 different project management professionals, totaling 280 hours of content, all in 20-minute units, and you can listen or watch. So it isn't just video like YouTube. You can actually, with a couple of clicks, get all of this information fed into your podcast channel, whether it be Google, Spotify, Apple, or whatever. And it's all yours at absolutely no cost. All you have to do is opt in. You just need to go to the site and register, because your chapter membership, your chapter leadership has gone and purchased a license for Project Bytes, providing all of this cool content to you at absolutely no cost. At the end of this presentation, I'll give you the URL and the special code you need in order to register, okay? So our roadmap today, 5 things plus a little juicy thing at the end. Number 1, you got to start thinking differently. 2, learn the business. 3, be a good communicator, a great communicator. 4, figure out Agile, learn how to sell, get your head around AI. And finally, 6 plus 1, 7. Finally, I'll leave you with, you got to have a plan. So that's where we're headed. That's our roadmap. In the chat box, who can tell me what game that is? That icon there, anyone quickly for 5 points. How quickly can you type it? And the winner is, Chutes and Ladders. No, still no one's got it. No, it's not Chutes and Ladders. That's an auto typing error. Yes, Zoom. So internal Rachel, Zoom is Brian. Okay, you all got it. Snakes and Ladders. When was the last time you played that? For me, it's been a while. Hey, listen. You have to think differently. Honestly, forget, I know this is the PMI, I know your chapter, I know you're promoting the body of knowledge and the whole PMP designation, all that, and it is really important as a foundation that you understand the language and that you understand the potential of the PMP designation. Yes, you need your PMP, but that's foundation stuff. We're beyond that. I'm not going to say today, go get your PMP. If you're a professional project manager and you don't have your PMP, that's a mistake. But let's go beyond that. Listen, put the PMBOK away. Stop talking the PMBOK. And by the way, the PMBOK is not if someone says, do you have a methodology you use for your projects? Do not say the PMBOK. Because that will end your conversation with me, because it is not. It is a body of knowledge. It is not a process. It is not a gated process on how to manage projects. And we can have that argument anytime you want. But people often talk about tick box project managers. Oh, I ticked off the 8 boxes. I'm good. How do you like me so far? Thank you. Next, please. We're not going there. The tick box project manager is done. The PMBOK project manager is done. That is the foundation. You need to have that. You know, my wife went to the dentist today to get a bridge installed. It took 10 minutes after terrible meetings before that. I don't care how he did it. She just cares about having that tooth space filled. I don't care, honestly, right now, I don't care how AI works. Because frankly, I've been told 3 times, 4 times, 5 times, I still don't get it. The truth is, I don't care how my car works. I just want to get in there and turn the car on. So that foundation stuff, that PMBOK, that quality management, procurement stuff, that contracting, procurement, that planning, that control, the communications plan, all that. I expect all of that from you. I don't want to hear that. What I'm looking for are people that can talk at a whole different level. The people that can understand that the real value to you, the value of you to me, is if you can bring a whole level of conversation and understanding of the business to the table. I don't want the regular project manager. I want people that can ask why we're doing this. I want people that will understand the connection between the why and the work we do, because that question is so vitally important. I want people that understand strategy and understand that, truthfully, and I do a lot of instructing at a foundation level in project management. I say, listen, let's talk about a project management environment, a good, strong culture, project execution culture. Whew, love it. In order for us to build it, we all have to understand where projects come from, because they don't come from the blue. They don't come out of the blue. They don't just come from anyone. Those we call torpedo projects or vanity projects or power projects. Real projects come from strategy, from a strategic plan, a vision of the future, understanding where we want to be, understanding who we are today, that current state, and then understanding what it's going to take to get there. That there being the acquisition of another organization, the growth of our product, the expansion to 5 new countries, the maybe even just to hold the line at 8 to 10% growth a year. That's strategy. And that takes work. And that work all typically comes under the word project management work. And it will come under that portfolio of work we're doing. And from that portfolio of foundation money and funds, we can then divvy up to the project level. And my project managers get that. And the project managers get it. And they also understand that when they get handed a project and they say, why are we doing this? And they have the nerve, the strength, the power to talk to, the strength to talk to power, to say, excuse me, like, where does this fit into the big picture? And so people might be nervous of saying that, and I get that, but I'm looking at that new level. I'm looking at a power level. I'm looking at a senior level of a project manager who can stand up and say, I thought that we had a process here, that project work came from strategy, that there was a portfolio of work and all of our projects fell out of the sky from that portfolio. There's like an intake engine around here. That's what I love. And projects go through only one door. They're approved, they're funded, and they land on our desk, and this is what we do. Not your $2 million, just get it done in 3-week project, vanity project. And so I want my project manager to think like that. To understand that projects do come from strategic thinking and beyond. That projects point to the why, that there should always be a connection to the real world, to the destination, to the future of the organization, that projects produce value, and understanding how to calculate or how to understand business value, and the projects produce benefits, and benefits to our organization. Why is that important to me when I'm hiring you? Because I want you to be able to inspire all the people that work on these projects to be better at what they do, to be driven by what they do, to be happy in their work, to be inspired in their work. And wow, this is real leadership stuff. This is people leadership stuff. And I go, bingo, it's people leadership. I don't want just a project manager. Sorry, folks, I can get just a project manager any day on the corner. Good project management skills, good subject matter expertise, good referral, good expertise, experience, and PMP designation. I can get that. It's a dime a dozen. Part 1, think differently. Walking through the conference, 15 tables of 10 people each. I can just hear the chatter about the plan and about the technology they're using for planning and about the control, about the communications plan, stakeholder analysis, and all this cool stuff, and the quality plan, the risks register. And over here, it's that strategic piece, and it's a different conversation. And they just assume that all this is how we do it. This is how the car runs. This is the gas and the oil. This is the destination of the car. This is the benefits. This is the cool part. This is the trips we can take. This is the transportation we can provide to people that need transportation in a car. This is the cool stuff. It's a whole different way of looking at the work that we do. That's the bigger picture. Number 2. Learn the business. You see, I get it. You've been stuck in this silo for months and years and years and years, and this has been you, and you haven't been able to go anywhere else because that's you. This is your subject matter. But that's only an excuse. I'm going to ask you, not only through that conversation about that, the bigger picture and the why and the strategy and the business and all that, but I'm also going to start drilling in and start to understand how much of the business, of our business, that you know. Who do you know? What contacts do you have in other departments? What time have you spent in other areas of this organization? How well do you know the structure of the organization? How well do you know how we operate, how we work at an operating level? David, that's not me. I'm a project manager. We get stuff done over here. And I go, great, I love it. Next. Just an excuse. Folks, go out and take people out for coffee. Go to conferences, read books, listen to blogs, Read articles about your company, about what's written outside about your company. Understand how the other departments work. My daughter worked for Pepsi. Another friend of ours worked for 3M Canada, but 3M worldwide. Google. We all know people that have worked in really innovative organizations who say, every month, every quarter, you will spend time outside of your desk area in a whole different area of this organization. With permission, it is part of your performance review. Christine, my daughter, was she was running a small distribution center in Ontario. And she would get in every time she had to do her 2 to 3 a year, she would hop in the truck and drive with the truckers. And through that, she would learn all about what's going on in the psyche of the truckers and why that's such a painful part of the business. And so it's so difficult for the truckers and the drivers and all that. But she'd also be delivering to the clients, slugging Pepsi cases and Dorito chips and all that other stuff to the clients and getting to know their view of the world and what's going on outside. Learn the business. If you don't have a 3M style, Google style, Pepsi style process where you're forced to go, create it yourself. Make it part of your plan, your career plan, to go out every quarter and spend a day. Just tell people you're going to do it. Go out and spend time in other departments, technology, HR, operations, accounting, risk management, engineering, sales and marketing, and even innovation. Why? Because it helps you connect the dots. Because I want my project managers to be enterprise-wide project managers. Because the gigs I am looking for often touch all of these departments. This is the kind of work we're looking at. And so I want you to come in with connections, with knowledge, with people, with visits, with coffees that will help you get stuff done and help understand how things work in this organization. Blinkers off. Wow. You see, I see us doing this and I see the project work we're doing that, but guess what? I was over in accounting the other day and I learned that. Fill in the blanks. And if we know that, then shouldn't we be concerned about how this piece is going to work in a future state? And that all starts to connect the dots. Now, it's going to take effort. None of this is easy, but it's really worthwhile. And not only do I think you should learn the business, but also I think you should learn more about your industry. The more you understand your industry, our industry, where we work, the better off we're all going to be. I want you to be my ears and eyes. I'll be out there too. But together, let's watch the competition. Let's watch the industry trends. Let's watch AI infiltrate all the parts of our business that it's going to create chaos through. Let's understand how all of this works. I'm sorry, I wasn't actually running. I was in a preview mode there. My apologies. I will stop and do this. Learn the business and your industry. So we often just stick to banking or finance, construction, engineering, technology, but there's so much more to learn about what our industry is, what's happening. You see, innovation and what's going on out of our industry, huge benefits. Because if you understand what's coming down the road before it comes down the road, you're going to be able to be better prepared to position yourself to get that project work, because AI is going to produce a ton of new project work. And if you're in the automobile industry, the driverless car or the new technology, the E and the hybrids, and if you were on top of that all, the project work that even just that stuff has been offering up, it's huge. Get to know the innovation group and just discover what's going on in your business. Any article about the C-suite of any of your competitors is yours to consume. Any podcast that interviews anyone in your industry that has a name is yours. You gotta listen. And when you listen, you're gonna hear stuff. And that stuff's gonna be really, really valuable for you. For you personally, professionally, I should say, but for you and me, because we're looking for trends, we're looking for ideas, and frankly, you know what? We're looking for stuff that may even cancel our projects, that may even put a hold on our projects, or a temporary stop, or even a full-time stop. And you become part of that planning. It all fits in. It's a whole notch above the regular run-of-the-mill tick box project manager. It's a different ball game. This is knowledge that you need to have and contacts you need to have. When I interview you, and I'm looking, forget the interview, when I'm looking at 30 resumes internal for the next project work, or 5 or 8, and I'm trying to figure out who is going to take on this big one. This is a big one, and this big one's going to involve regular reporting to the senior executive team, potentially reporting odds and ends to the board of directors. This is important. This is going to require a communication level that is really good. So forget that be a great communicator. Don't be a lousy communicator. I'm going to change that slide someday. Don't be a lousy communicator. I should do that I'm doing this presentation in about 3 hours to Long Island. I'll do it for them. Don't be a crummy communicator. It's like that negative, it's the flip. And what I mean is that I need people who are able to communicate well, that will never disgrace our name or their own brand by coming in ill-prepared on their own when they should have brought the team, unable to answer questions because they weren't prepped and primed and or knowledgeable enough. Technology issues and fumbling with cameras and fumbling with projectors beforehand. Writing illogical, all over the map, riddled with error memos. Writing emails to people that contain short forms and shortcuts and abbreviations that we use in text. Memos where paragraphs just go on and on and on. There's no break because the person didn't understand how to break a paragraph. I'm giving you examples of what I expect in my senior people. I expect good communicators. And if you're not, that's all right. Listen, you've got time. Go learn. Learn how to speak well. You don't have to be I can stand in front of the Western Idaho chapter for 1 hour and talk about how to take a career to the next level without any notes. It's not what I'm asking. I'm asking you to be good enough to not look bad. I'm asking you to be prepared. I'm asking you to present well. And presenting well, we've got Toastmasters, you've got friends, you've got your own department where you can practice. And when you present now, you should be asking for feedback. Not on that content, what'd you think? I think it's a great idea. I don't care about the idea. In fact, if you're not getting stellar marks on your communication and your presentation skills, every session you should be asking for feedback. And you should be telling those people in the room before you ask them that I'm going to ask it, before you present, that I'm going to ask you for feedback. Take notes. I'm going to be thick-skinned, but I want to be a better presenter. If you've got nabbed once or twice about some of the content that you've produced by email or Word document or whatever, you should be getting that reviewed by someone prior to sending out. A number of years ago, I launched my speaking career and I needed content, so I started blogging every week, 2 p.m. Every week I produced 400 to 500 words. And the first time I did it, went to Karen, my wife, and I said, "Did you know that I'm blogging every week?" She said, "Well, that's good, honey." And I said, "You want to read them?" She said, "I've only done 2." And she said, "Sure, that'd be good." And so I gave it to her, printed, and she came back about 20 minutes later. She said, "Tell me you really didn't send this out." I was very proud of myself, and I was a little deflated. I said, "Why?" And she said, "Well, number one, the first one is like riddled with typos. Number two is like you lost me halfway through. It was just there was no connection." From then on, she became my proofreader, and she would tear it apart. She would find the typos that every time I looked, I would miss, because that's how it works. And she would look at it from afar and from like a vision that said, "Okay, I get this." I expect you to write well. I expect you to write and present well, to communicate well, to deliver information to us logically in a format that is easy to follow, in a logical format. This is what I'm going to tell you, ladies and gentlemen. I have 5 things I'm going to say. I'm on the 5th. This is what I told you I would tell you. Are there any questions? I'm assuming that in this room we have the need to cover off the following 3 areas of this project: operations, the financial part, and whatever else. And all of a sudden they go, "Well, there's nobody from the finance team here." And so being agile enough to say, "Forget that part, we'll just put it in the memo." Why should I speak? So know your audience. Don't waste people's time. Speak to the audience, speak to their issues, speak to what's bothering them or what's most important in their lives. And I can tell you one of the biggest mistakes we make as project managers is we talk about what we think is most important, not what they think. What we think is most important is that we are 3/4 of the way through the plan. We've gone through 3 milestones. We've got a stakeholder analysis review that's coming up, and that's just the engine. That's just the oil that we're using in the gas. That's not, and no one cares about that unless all you're doing is presenting to a project team. Okay, be organized, be prepared, be logical in your thought and process. Never think that you can do it alone. Those types of people I have no interest in employing. I'm not looking for the superstar. I can do it on my own. Superman, Superwoman, can't do it. I'm looking for people who will say, we got an important presentation. I need you 3 people with me. Let's go. Basically, I will do the presentation. There's 2 sections which I want you and then you to present small bits, but I need you here to answer the questions just in case. Thank you. It's not a sign of weakness. It's a sign of strength. But David, we don't use Agile in our organization. So what? David, we're construction and engineers. We don't use Agile. So what? David, I don't see it. This is stupid. That's fine. Next. Why? Because Agile is a tool now that's available to all of us. It's popular. It's not the be all and end all. It's not like we all thought it was going to take over the world. It isn't the greatest thing in the world, but it is a very appropriate methodology in some situations. And I'd like my project managers to be able to identify those situations if, and bring it to light, if it could save us money, save us time, produce a better result, produce a more timely result, produce usable product sooner than we would otherwise, which I think are those are the 5 pillars of Agile in the words of David Barrett. Just read a book, for God's sakes. Take a 1-day course. Listen to some blog posts. Project Bytes got tons. Project Bytes got tons of content on Agile. Good, you got it. You don't need any more than that. I'm not saying go get certified. I'm not saying you have to be a Scrum Master. I'm not saying you even have to have experience. But what I want you to be able to do is say, David, stop for a moment. We could actually do this better if we adopted Agile. And I'm going, wow, we don't do Agile. Well, just give me a moment, David. This is kind of what it could look like. And here are the benefits. And the reasons why I'm bringing this up, because these are the flags I'm seeing in this project. Whoa, makes sense. And Barb, can you do it? No, of course not. I just know enough to be dangerous. That's all you wanted. And I went, exactly. So where are we going to go now? Do we hire a Scrum Master? Do we get a consultant in? What do we do? And we move from there. And yeah, you can find sections of a project, of an old traditional, predictable construction, engineering, large capital project that could maybe slip in a little bit of benefit of Agile too. So not bad. Bottom line is it tells me that you're on the cutting edge, the leading edge of tools and technology we have available to us as project managers. And that you're not blinkered and saying, "This I love this, because this is a showstopper for me." Well, no, because that's not how we do it. Yeah, don't let the door hit you on the way out. Because that's not how we do it. It doesn't work in this day and age. And maybe in some companies, but it's sad. It's not how we work. So go take a course, go listen to or read or watch some videos on projectbytes.com. In fact, there's some learning paths on the platform that have linked a few videos together to create a small short course on Agile. They're all delivered by different professionals. They're really good.
David, I noticed there's a couple of comments in the chat as well.
Okay, just want to get to it at the end. Cool.
At the end, okay, perfect.
Yeah. Let me just learn it and get stuff done. Let me just come back to this. I just want to get through this, and I'll come back to that. And Lisa, thank you. I'll just hold on 2 secs. Just a couple more to go, and then let's throw the stuff out there, because hopefully you're making some notes, and we can go through it. This one's an unusual one. It really isn't learn how to sell, it's learn how to influence. It's learn how to influence people. It's learn how to get people on side. You see, you all know this. I'm going to say it though to be really clear. You have zero authority in this organization. You have a huge job to do. You're managing a humongous budget. You've got a mission critical project on your desk. Your career hangs on it, but so does your sponsor. Like, it's not just you. The sponsor owns it. You're just the one delivering it. Your job is to make sure, I'm going to go back to the beginning, to the foundation. Our job is to make sure that everyone, when people say, what does a project manager do? Our job is to make sure that everyone involved in any way, shape, or form in this organization to that project work, anybody with any potential connection, i.e. every stakeholder, knows what they need to know, when they need to know it, in a format they need to know in a timely fashion. We do our stakeholder analysis, we create a communications plan, and we make sure that that information flows. And yeah, we're now the orchestra leader, and we are managing all of the parts to make sure that everything goes smoothly, and when it doesn't, we're managing the change. And we're adjusting, and we're being agile. But we're most importantly communicating all this stuff as we go. But you do all of that, but you have no title, you have no authority, and you walk into these departments, divisions, areas of the organization, and some of them just kind of look at you sideways. They've got very, very important jobs, I get it, but this very important work that you are doing, don't you understand how important it is to this widget that we're building, to this eventual outcome, to the benefits and the why? And that's why we go back to the first slide that says you need to understand the why and the benefits and the business value, because now we're here to get this whole department or this one individual or this group of people on side, juiced and ready to produce the part of the widget that we need them to produce to get going. So learn how to be a good player, learn how to be a good communicator, an influencer. Understand that you have no authority. No one's going to hand it to you. You've got to work at this. And that kind of project manager is the one for me. They work well with people. They're respectful. They're empathetic. They're knowledgeable about other people and how other people work. They get that we're not all cookie cutter. They get that there are sharks out there, and then there are whales, and there are dolphins, and there are sea urchins. And they understand that every one of those, whatever those are, act differently and need to be dealt with differently. Learn how to work with people to get stuff done. David, not that good at it. Where do I go? One of the best courses I've seen at conferences and out there is called Influence Without Influence, Authority Without Influence. Having authority, I forget the words, having authority without influence. And basically it's how to be a project manager, because you need authority, you need to walk around with authority, but you have absolutely no influence at all. And it's a tough role. But ideally, you can get out there and fix it. You know, if I had another hour on top of this, Brian's only given me 3 hours. So if I had the fourth, I would talk to you forever about AI. This is blowing me away what this thing will do. It recently wrote a speech for me, totally unrelated to project management. I had a huge health scare in the fall. They almost lost me. I'm writing a speech about it's called Why Wait, actually. And it was it was an amazing story, but it's gonna be really good. And I was chatting with AI, and I told her the whole story. She was coming back at me, really? Wow. And then how did you feel? You're sitting in the surgery, and wow, and what happened afterwards? What did the kids say? And how did Karen do it? It was really freaky. And in the end, I said, I told you the story for a reason. Yeah, what was that? I want you to write a speech for me. I want you to give me the headlines and the outline of a 1 hour speech that will close a conference, that will leave people just juiced about their life and about getting things done now rather than AI. Oh my goodness. I had a really important email to write recently. I struggled and struggled and struggled. I needed this receiver who did not know me from Adam. I needed him. I wanted a meeting with him. And I needed him to read it. First of all, I needed him to open the email, which is a trick. I needed to read a very brief email that will give him the essence of why and who and what, and then schedule a meeting. Bam, AI. I struggled. I was on the 4th iteration, and I went, AI. If you haven't played with AI, get into ChatGPT. Ask it anything. Tell it that you're planning a birthday party for your daughter and tell all about your daughter. And they will plan the most incredible party you've ever seen. She will, he will. It's freaky. They will write letters. They will give you synopsis of project work. I'm doing a lot of Excel work now using AI because I can't do a pivot table. My daughter always did it. And Project Bites Live, we run these live monthly events with shit at 10. We did one last night. Phenomenal. 2 speakers, 20 minutes each, every month. And I'm trying to encourage Brian and the gang here to promote it to all of you every month. But you don't have to. Just go to projectbites.com, click on events. And I need to compare the list of people that attended versus the list of people that are already members. And I need a list of people who are not on this list, who are on this list. AI does it in about 10 seconds. It is unbelievable. I don't have to worry about pivot tables anymore. Data crunching, letter writing, memo writing, creative stuff. Here's the purpose of this piece. It is going to be a part of your lives tomorrow. Not 3 months from now, but tomorrow. I am using a product called Fathom, Fathom. It is taking notes at every one of my meetings, and then instantly afterwards, it is giving me a synopsis of what was said, what was decided, plus a transcript of the whole meeting. No more note taking. It is a waste of time. It is old school. Use Fathom, use Otter.ai, use ChatGPT to be creative. There's a whole bunch of cool things you can do. It isn't just a toy, and it is coming to a theater near you tomorrow. My question when I filter the resumes will be, what do you know about AI? And if it's, I haven't used it yet, I will pass on you. Because I would think right now is a time that every great project manager, especially senior, should be using it. If you're not allowed to, you should be using it at home to test it and figure it out. And hopefully you should be encouraging your organization to create the AI bubble around their contents so it isn't available to the rest of the world. This can be done. And it can be used then internally. Law firms. Oh my goodness. Give me a 1,000 word synopsis of this case. And it goes through every document anywhere in that law firm's archives and creates the 1,000 words instantly. Yeah, anyway, I can go on and on and on. Pick a tool, tell me you use it. Even if it's just Fathom. Oh yeah, all my note taking, I use Fathom. I use ChatGPT a lot to be creative. Done. That's all I need to know. You don't have to be a pro. Like Agile. So folks, I said there were 6 things. There was one last piece of the puzzle. Listen, if you want to take your careers from here to there, I encourage you, have a plan. Because just saying, David, I dream of being a senior director of the PMO in 15 years, 5 years, or next year, isn't good enough. My question to you as your counselor, as your coach will be, okay, so what's the plan? And the plan is strategic in nature, and it has a current state, and it has a future state, and it has a plan to get from here to there. I do a fun workshop one day on how to build a professional strategic plan. And that's what it takes. And that current state analysis is really critical, because having a goal and having a vision of where you want to be in the future is good. But that's just dreaming. That's the easy part. The question is, do you have what it takes? And the answer will be no, because that's why I'm not there yet. But can you take what you've got and turn it into enough to get there? Can you get the education, the certification to become the director of the PMO? What does she have currently that you don't have in order to get from here to there? That's the planning, that's the strategy, that's that strategic thinking piece. I thank the PMI of Houston, Texas. I keynoted a conference a number of years ago prior to COVID, and I stole their Project U. You can see the Texas star there. I like that. That was the theme of their conference. Have a plan. Ladies and gentlemen, when I joined you today, I said, okay, what was that icon about? And you, after a few bad guesses, you did guess it was snakes and ladders. Think differently. Learn the business. Think outside the box, folks. Put the tick box away. Think about strategy. Think about the why. Connect the work that you and your team are doing with the strategic plan. That will get you everywhere. Learn the business and, by the way, the industry as well that you're working in. By the way, I want to mention that last piece was touch base, connect with the innovation group. They're the ones that are going to tell you what's happening in 2 years' time. And you're going to hear something going, I never heard of that. But then the smart one of you are going to go and learn about it and take a course on it, or go to Project Bytes and learn about it, or talk to people. And when it comes time and they search the database, project manager, PMP, AI, PMP, robotics in a engineering environment, your name pops. That's what we're doing. Be a great communicator, be prepared, be logical, write well, and present well. That's your brand, folks. And every time you get up, you're working the brand, and I'm watching you and listening to you, and I'm more and more impressed. You're the kind of person I want. Figure out Agile because it's a foundation. Figure out how to sell or influence people, and get your head around AI. These are the critical pieces. But Agile and AI, to me, they say you are cutting edge. You get it. You get where we are. And anybody that says, it's not me, I'm moving on. Brutal, aren't I? I can be brutal. And whenever you do, come on, put a plan together. I had plans. I got plans now, and I actually changed plan A about a month and a half ago when I had a very serious illness up in my brain. But they found it, and they put the mesh up there, and I was so lucky. And boy, you go through stuff like that, and you go, whoa, plan A, plan B, please. And plan B is plan A, but in a lot shorter format, because we got time to live, and I got stuff I got to do now. And it isn't work related necessarily. Have a plan. Folks, I'm David Barrett. LinkedIn, David Barrett, Toronto. David Barrett Project Management. That'll get you here. David Barrett Project Bytes. That'll get you to me on LinkedIn. Say hi, connect, tell me what you think. Love to hear from you. Remember, Project Bytes is that platform available to all of you at absolutely no cost. The leadership team has licensed this product and paid for it for you. This is a value add. $45 a year is the benefit that you're getting. And that's not bad. It's almost 50% of what you're spending, just short of that. For all this 280 hours of content, PDU, I'm not an ATP, so it's self-directed. But there's a tool in there if you opt in that will give you and track all of your activities, both audio and video, so that you can download the report and put your PDU claim in there. Yeah, it's pretty cool. I don't get the database. This is not automatic. In order to get there, you've got to go into that URL or projectbytes.com or the one that says PMI-chapter-/Western Idaho. Take a photo. I should do a QR code.
Hey, and Dana put a link in the chat for those on the phone here. You could go to that link, save it as a favorite. Highly recommend. Great resources.
Thank you. Now, folks, the code you need in order to register to get rid of the $45 is there. That's the code you need. Okay?
Right. Yep.
That's the secret to success. I have produced 7 books. Those are 6 of them. The other one is not important to you. And that's me, and that's my email address. And you can take a photo of that if you're interested in connecting. I hope you've enjoyed this. I'll go to the chat box, and we'll start the discussion. If you have any questions, please.
Yeah, there's if you want to pop into the chat, David, there's a few comments in there that you might want to comment on. I'll leave it to you.
Okay. 21 people. Wow, good. A similar experience. Learning how to navigate and get stuff done in an organization is the key driver to success. And that's why connecting and learning who the people and the players are. Those coffee meetings. Hey, can I buy you a coffee? Why? Because I just don't know you and I want to find out about you, your career, where you fit in and how you got there. Work their ego. They all want to do it. And we all drink coffee midday. Acronyms are risky. They are. I had a similar experience recently, not so much with communication, but with doing work. And thinking I thought I was great, receiving feedback that it wasn't up to snuff. A bit deflating for sure, and similar to your experience with your blog post, but it showed me what I needed to improve. And Nelisa, thank you. You need thick skin as a project manager. You need to take criticism. You need to be a better communicator, so understand when people say, that sucked. I was lost, totally illogical. I couldn't read it, 5 typos. Put yourself out there, you got to be ready for that. I run events for hundreds and thousands of people every year. I can't please everyone, and I do get that. That event sucked. Thicken your skin. If you're going to do it, that's what you got to listen for. ChatGPT is a lot in my job. ChatGPT for a lot in my job. Yeah, cool. Good, Annalisa. Brian, AI not allowed me to access at my work, so I use ChatGPT at home to create a project schedule for software implementation. Absolutely. Great results. Automated, very admin tasks that I can then refine. I was teaching a course, and we had a case study. And the case study was the creation of an event and a conference. And I kind of went in as a really fluffy senior director of the organization saying, let's run a one-day event for this. And basically, that's all I did. I said, I'm going to meet all of you in an hour's time. And basically, when we met, it was kind of like they were drilling me about the requirements of the project so that they could create both the requirements definition and the scope definition. I put my cell phone on the desk, and I went to a product called Wave, W-A-V-E, AI. I clicked the microphone, put it down, and at the end, we then got into a conversation about AI, and I said, remember that conversation we had? Watch this. Wave had it all. And I said, okay, here's the file from Wave into ChatGPT. Now, give me my requirements definition, my requirements list, and then create my scope definition. It was amazing. Absolutely amazing. Not perfect. Nothing out of AI is perfect. Risky. Yeah, be careful. Don't take it verbatim. But it was pretty cool. I did something similar, creating a software implementation plan. I had good results in my team too, said Annalisa. ChatGPT is available on an app on your phone, and you use it in the garden. I use it in the garden. I have 3 plants that I want to move over. How do I do it? It will tell me what a plant is, and if it is sick, and how to fix it. Cool. Does Project Bytes have coursework for using AI? We have not coursework, but we definitely have about 5 or 6 good AI tools. Here's what I'm now turning down. Let me tell you how AI works. It was founded by this Canadian guy who just received the Nobel Prize yesterday in Sweden. And I'm like, honestly, even though he's Canadian, who cares? Who cares how it was built? Who cares how it works? I still don't understand it. It's just the car. Just show me where the keys are and how to get from here to there. It isn't just a toy, but it's also not a replacement for competence and critical thinking. Thank you, Gregory. I think a lot of the beginning of your presentation touches on individual uniqueness and contribution as a highly competent project manager. Thank you. The tail end of this presentation seems to be considerably downplay that. I feel that there is a rise of impressively underskilled project managers in the market. I'm going to repeat that. I feel there is a rise of impressively underskilled project managers in the market. I found the latest edition of the PMP exam to be impressively mild and not challenging. So, David, what is your response to that? Well, Gregory, that is interesting. I'm on side about the PMP. The stronger, the more tougher they make it. But that's not up to the game. They wanted to not lower the bar, but yeah, I get it. You know, I'm in the education business. I do work with a lot of project managers. Where I go wrong are kids coming out of high school and going into 1-year college degrees. In Canada, we call it college, but whatever you might call it, a 1-year certificate degree on project management out of high school, and then say, okay, where are the jobs? And honestly, there are no jobs. We need expertise. We need experience in the field before you can manage people in the field. So. Yeah, back to your conversation about, the tail end comes off as a machine for money making, like most corporations, despite PMA not being a profit. No, Gregory, I'm not going there. I know you're fishing for a little deeper conversation about the PMI and our objectives or their objectives. Yeah, it's a good debate, and maybe one that we should have a Project Bytes Live. I do these monthly events, and they don't have to be 2 speakers. We did in November a panel discussion on AI tools for project managers. Show and tell. Come with your tools. It was incredible. I like this one. Are we really going down the right road? Are we really building professional project managers, or are we just kind of filling a void? Yeah, it's a good conversation, Gregory. Maybe we should chat. Interesting. Any other comments or conversations? Checking the time at 2 minutes to 3. I see someone clapping. I appreciate that. Anyone else? I see back here. How did your personal plan change in your career health situation? My personal plan completely changed. I almost died. I had a brain aneurysm. It was caught as a fluke. You Google brain aneurysms and surgery, and they say 6 to 7 millimeters you should consider surgery. I was at 18. We waited 12 days for surgery. It was the longest 12 days of my life. My kids were freaked out. My friends and family were crazy. And I was sitting here completely healthy, feeling no pain at all, and looking at people in tears and buckling over. And it was life-changing. And I've come out of there with a completely different look on life. And I'm a workaholic. I'm an entrepreneur, and this is what I'm going to do until I die. Maybe not. Maybe not. Maybe I should go to plan B or C sooner than later. Maybe I should take a little bit more personal time for myself. And yeah, things have changed. Things have changed.
All right. That looks like the end of the questions in the chat. So, David, thank you so much. I appreciate you taking the time with the chapter members today. Good stuff.
Lovely.
And again, I'm going to plug it. Go out to our website. Use Project Bytes. It's a great way to get PDUs. Plus, build your knowledge as a PM.
Absolutely. Ryan, thank you. Thank you all for being here, and thank you for joining me. I hope you've learned, and I hope that somewhere down the road your career will progress and get to where you want it to be. Thanks all.